Good morning, good morning. Oh, it's a rainy old morning this morning. Very grey and overcast. Still, the grass is dormant, but it'll soon be growing. I'm going this way today because that other way's got a diversion, hasn't it? So I did a bit of analysis on the old YouTube statistics, and it turns out that on average, most people watch, well, I'd say that everybody who watches the video watches it for at least a minute and a half. And then they get bored and turn off. Well, I don't blame you, I don't blame you. The first minute and a half of this video is very boring. It's only me saying hello, isn't it? And wishing you well and talking about the weather and stuff like that. So that's fine. If you want to watch something else, then good for you. That's what I say. If you're a dentist and you're sort of interested in a bit of a weird and wacky take on primary dental care in the UK, then these are probably the 8 people that stay until the end. And if you're one of those, then hello to you as well. Because you can tell, it's been raining again. We've certainly got no shortage of water in this country. Yes, if you're a Savannah, I'd stop there as well. Oh, look at this. You'd think it was a royal motorcade. Everyone's stopping for angry. Big pothole. Wonder how soon it'll be before they come and fix the potholes. We seem to have had a lot this year. I mean, I'm not joining the general, what's the word? There's a general sort of somewhat faux hysteria whipped up about this time of year about potholes. In fact, I think there were a lot of prepared stories about potholes that came out a bit too early because the potholes hadn't actually appeared. But we had a little bit of a frost about 3 weeks ago, and I think that's what. Excellent. The lake is back. Yeah, so I think that's what set the scene for, the tarmac to fracture, and then it takes about 2 weeks' time for the tyres, the weight of the cars and the vans to crack it all up, and don't know where it goes. Where does all the tarmac from potholes go? Same place all the rubber from all those worn out tyres goes, I suppose. Micro rubber from car tyres is a major pollutant. I mean, think how many people get new tyres every day. Where's all the rubber gone off the old ones? The answer is it's gone into the environment. These fields will be a brilliant brown, brilliant green. The trees will be a brilliant auburn, whatever, if they weren't all covered in micro rubber from tyres. My only consolation is that the vast majority of it goes into areas that have speed bumps and 20-mile-an-hour speed limits. Because that's where you're accelerating, aren't you, from the last speed bump and braking heavily for the next speed bump. This traffic's quite heavy. I'm not going to take a risk and try and go until there's a break in it, especially as my view is obstructed by this car on the right. Anyway, oh, that's a big tractor. And we're off. My new production level for videos is keeping up, so I'm managing to process them now. I'm going to try and process them the same day. dental wise, we've got quite a, we've had quite a mixed bag lately. We had a guy we tried to do a post crown on, and we've reused his crown because it's an excellent colour match and one of a set, really, one of a 6 across his upper 3 to 3. But we couldn't find his root canal, so he's going to have a very fat post, and then they're going to retrofit the crown to the core, to a new core. So yeah, it was that's quite interesting. And one of the things that you can push people to do, one of the things that people can do that you don't know about, I mean, that's a good theme, isn't it? I mean, for example, I rent a unit in a business centre, and the business centre has a reception, and they do things like, I mean, all they do for me really is take the post, because I'm so used to having my own reception that I have a reception in a building that has a reception, if you see what I mean. But it's very possible that I don't know, my rent does include, or my lease does include, use of the reception and the receptionist to the degree that I rent the space. So, and bearing in mind we don't take that many phone calls now, but we do get quite a lot of emails. But I think they wouldn't be able to function as my reception. And I really shouldn't want them to function as my reception, because they couldn't provide the service level agreement that I want my patients to have. They wouldn't be able to greet my patients by name, which we do. And I'll give you a little trick. If you don't want to splash out on a highly expensive caller ID type incoming thing, is you can just get that off your mobile phone. So what you do is, if you've on a service, our phones are go over the internet. We've got a thing called Vonage, which means that incoming and outgoing calls are routed to my number via the internet. So as a result, we're able to make another phone ring simultaneously. So that straight away, we've even saved on extensions, haven't we? So so we've got one, or you can even, I think, make 2 phones ring simultaneously to the main line. So that's 2 internal extensions that we don't need. Then not only that, but the because the phones, once you put the caller into the phones database on Google, your Google Contacts or something, then it will display the caller's name. So, and that's a massive benefit. It's great because now it's probably not because of how you think. Okay, I'll tell you how it works. You might think, oh well, that's great because you can pick up the phone and say, oh, hello, Fred, and Fred's not going to like that. Fred's going to be spooked by that, because because I think most people do know that it's possible their name does come up. It's much more impressive to do it in a way which is a little bit more subtle. And the way you do it is that you say, hello, Angry Dental Practice, and they say, oh, hello, it's Fred here, or I'm ringing to book an appointment, and you go, oh yeah, hello Fred, how you doing? Now, but in the meantime, what you've done is, as soon as the first ring on the phone and the name comes up, you then go to search patient straight away on your vertical software system, and you put in the patient's name, so that by the time you've literally picked the phone up, you've got his record up on the screen. And so when he says something like, I've forgotten when my next appointment is, you can say straight away, oh, it's 4 o'clock next Thursday. And that gives the impression that you know that, that you've memorized it, which I think is quite, that is far more impressive than just saying, hello, Fred, and him going, oh, hello, how do you know it was me? Or do it some other way. Do it by saying, you can say, if he says, "Oh, hello, is that the dental surgery? Or is that Angry's dental surgery?" You can say, "Yes, it is. Hello, Fred." And then he will then assume that you've just sort of recognised his voice straight away, that you know him like an old friend. "Oh, I recognise your voice straight away on the phone. Hello, Fred." You know, and they're like, "Oh, hello, yeah, it's me, Fred." So be a little bit subtle about it, okay? But so it's a very powerful marketing tool. But if you use it in the right way, which is basically just to give you all the patient's information that you could possibly have at the time that you're on the phone to them. Now, it doesn't work, obviously, you're at home, because the phone will ring, my phone will ring when I'm at home, and someone will say hello, and I won't know who they are. Well, actually, that's not true. I will know who they are because they'll come up on my phone, but I won't necessarily have all the information on them. And some of the information I'm not privy to. So, for example, if the receptionist is trying to ring a patient to book them a denture fit or something, and she's rung them a couple of times and said, "Can you just ring us back?" And then they get home at 6 o'clock and ring us back. They get through to me, and I have to say to them, they say, "Oh, yeah, I'm just returning your call." And then I have to say to them, "Well, yeah, can you just give me a clue what it's about? Because I'm not in front of the computer at the moment." That's not a problem, you know. I mean, it's very rare that the patient then turns around and says, "Well, I don't know, you rang me," you know. They will know. They'll say, "Oh, we've been trying to book a denture fit appointment." And I'm like, "Okay, look." So you find out what days are best for them. Now, the best way to handle something like that, I find, is to put the details on the internal staff. We have a WhatsApp group, and basically it's just me and the staff, and we put, so if Fred rings and says, "Oh, I can come in for my denture fit next Thursday or Friday or next Tuesday afternoon," while it's fresh in your memory, put it on the WhatsApp group, and we put everything that's for action but not for immediate action in square brackets. So, and I'll tell you why in a second. What will happen is that then that will get pinged through to the staff, and I don't know, being the nature of things, they'll probably look at it, but they will know from the square brackets that it's not anything that's can't wait till tomorrow. And that's because although I do expect my staff to be attentive to the phones out of hours. Okay. Now you might say, "Oh, well, you're paying them to be on call 24 hours. And in fact, I'm not. What I'm doing is I'm messaging them out of hours, but they don't have to read it. And no action is taken if they don't read it. They will just read it. And in fact, I mean, I've got a funeral tomorrow, and it's a Friday, so I'll be off tomorrow. So obviously there'll be no video tomorrow. But the staff will still be paid for the whole day. And so what I usually say is that one of them can take the phone home, the staff phone, and what I usually say is like, "Can you just answer anything?" They can dial into the work computers on their laptops. So it's as though they're sitting at a desk at work, and then they've got the work phone, which will ring if the work phone, if the main number rings. So they can say, "Hello, Angry Dental Practice. Yeah, you'd like to make an appointment? Yeah, I can do blah, blah, blah," and book it in, as though they were at work, but they can be doing anything else. But the question is, what's reasonable? I mean, do you want them to sit there in their pajamas all day? And the answer is no, because for the most part, the phone won't ring. Let's just go around this lot. In fact, we find the majority of the phone calls come in before 10 o'clock. So what I do is I say to the staff, "Look, I want you to," so because they can log on, I say, "I want you to deal with any emails. I want you to deal with any appointment requests, and sort of anything else that needs sorting out." So that'll take from, say, 8:45 to 10 o'clock. And then all that time you can have the phone next to you. And if anyone rings before 10, then obviously you can deal with phone calls. But then after 10, really, or when you finish 10 o'clock, or when you finish the work, the emails and that, whichever is the later of the two, then you can, that's it, just pack up and have the rest of the day off. Perhaps keep the phone with you just in case anything comes up, but but if you want to go out for the day, that's fine. Just say that I'm sorry, I'm not in front of a computer at the moment, and perhaps I even put it on the staff WhatsApp memo thing, and then you've got the rest of the day off on full pay. I mean, it works both ways. Do you know what I mean? I don't. If I do have to ring someone at, I don't know, 7 or even 8 o'clock in the evening, and it's urgent, I will ring them, and I will be a little bit upset. I won't be upset. No, let's put it wrong. I will be, if they don't answer, I shall assume it's because they've gone out for dinner with their family or something and they can't answer. I would normally expect them to answer, not because of any expectation on my part, but because that's just the sort of group we are. We work together, we're very tight as a team, and if I ring them at 7:30 or something, it'll be because it's usually because I'm working, I'm doing something, and they know something that I don't. So, like, for example, I might ring up and say that the last patient that came in today, I'm writing the notes up, but there's no record of them having paid. Can you tell me whether they paid or not? Stuff like that. Stuff that they know as part of their job that I might not. So I've got a whiteboard. I'm taking a whiteboard to work because I've got this very, very excellent way of doing quotes, which we developed in the early 1980s, funny enough, which involves a whiteboard and a quoting system, which is entirely analog. So I'm going to try it out again and see if it works. It's what you do is you get an OPG of the patient's teeth and you draw it up on the board, and then you give them a single sheet of A4, which has got the like 6 or 7 Sigismund notation grids on it, and the top one for fillings, the second one for root treatments, the third one for crowns, fourth one, whatever, and then give it to them, and they can take it away straight away. And there's a very, very significant meaning to that. It's very immediate, let's put it that way. The patients you've literally just, like an artist, like a sketch artist, has just done a cartoon of their face, and they're like, yeah, that's me, I reckon I saw that, that's just been done, that's me. And so it's very good for getting compliance to treatment, because it's tangible. It's very tangible. I know, we do our quotes and they're emailed out, and they're done the same day. So there's no intangibility in terms of... we're going around, are we? Okay, fair enough. Oh, this is what I hate about this junction. It just encourages this. This is literally, there's two forward arrows on the road saying this is what I want you to do, and yet that's not what anyone wants anyone to do. So I'm just going to stay here and not overtake too much and not cause too much. See this white car, YF190XP on my left? They're already getting the ump because they think I'm trying to overtake, which I am, because that's encouraged. That's the whole point of these two lanes. They're two lanes, they merge into one. It takes the weight off the roundabout, but there's a cadre of car drivers who think that, for example, if you're leaving on a motorway, and you get this at motorway junctions, which have got a massive, great associated shopping centre like Bluewater or Whitecross or whatever, and you'll see that the left-hand turn lane, here's another one, it starts about 3 miles, even though there's two lanes going off. Oh, I don't mind. LM15XSX. I see you have got some lights on that car, even though you decide to save electricity by keeping them off. Yeah, so you drive along the motorway, and then all of a sudden there's this massive great queue in lane 1, and you can drive. Sometimes you can literally drive for miles, and get to the junction where you go off, and even at the junction, the second lane going off is empty, and you're like, oh, really, seriously? So I managed to bring the whiteboard in, so we'll have to see. I might experiment with it for a while. The only problem is that obviously it's only going to be 1 page long, so I'm going to have QR codes against every line item for the details associated with it. You know, the advice. Or perhaps I might do both. I'll do both, and then we'll see whether we get an increased uptake from those patients where we give them the analog. Let's put the analog one, the more tangible quote. Or it may be that it's just going to be too much work to write this all out in an analog sense. But then if it's work that translates into acceptance of quotations, then it's going to be worthwhile, isn't it? Let's just... There we go. Apparently it's going to rain for 2 or 3 hours, but I'm not going to know because I'm going to be indoors. So never really know what the weather's like outside. When I'm at work, I'm too busy doing dentistry and all the times and all the telegraph crossword. Look. Mind you, I'm early today. It's not even 8:30. I don't even think the girls will have arrived. One of them has. This is how you keep the staff on time. For the most part, I don't turn up till I'm really ready to start work. But occasionally, I come in like before they're due to come in, and they don't know whether any day might be one of those days. So they have to come in on time, on the off chance that I'm also going to be in early as well. So today's the day, but one of them's here and one of them isn't. One of them, but then having said that, she has got another 2 minutes. So perhaps I'll let you know whether she arrived or not. Okay, nice to talk to you. Bye.